I think I might have found a way to fix Yu-Gi-Oh. Now, in the comments, you can tell me whether this could be right or wrong. I'm open to criticism, of course, but I think I figured this out. So, I think when we start, what is the problem with the current format? I think the easiest one to point out, there's no deck diversity. Everything is one deck, and a lot of people don't like playing tier. A lot of people just don't think it's very fun. To like a very fun deck to play. So that it alienates anyone who doesn't like tier element or like I guess fluanderies. But God, if you enjoy playing fluanderies, I don't know what's wrong with you. It's it's a little it's a little hard to point out problems past that though. Don't you think? It's because like there's no it's not like a floodgate format other than like fluanderies is boring as fuck, but otherwise it's a decent format to like play. Um, I think that there's no like super oppressive like multi like 8 negate boards. There's like I don't think tier ends on like one omni negate like 30% of the time. It's not there's no like super oppressive floodgates. There's no like huge negate boards. There's no you don't get like locked in some way. Like you're not like getting you linked or hand looped. The only reason that tier element is bad is because there's nothing else you can play. But let's look at some of the positives in tier element. Most floodgates that aren't specific, well, I think actually all floodgates that are not specifically targeted at tier element don't really do that much. Like they don't lose to skill drain, they don't lose to Teak Boo, and none of the face up floodgates really work. So you're left with a deck that can pretty much play through any floodgate, which is good, right? Am I not wrong in saying that I think having your deck be able to play through being able to like ignore cards that inherently make the game more unfun is good. Another thing Tier does very well is that it makes you feel like you have a chance. Now that seems not like a good thing, but you don't want to like last format you could look at both hands and then say that's the player who wins. It rewards being very skillful, and it rewards like people playing like it rewards people playing it rewards people playing in an optimal manner, which is also important in a format. Now you might be asking, Flogos, why are you talking so much about tier element? Your video was titled "How to like fix Yu-Gi-Oh" or something, or like you found a solution to fix Yu-Gi-Oh. I think Konami, something that people have like a lot of times talked about as a bad thing for Yu-Gi-Oh, is power creep. I'm I'm gonna sit here asking, of course, like power creep theoretically isn't very good. It comes with its costs. Um, Older decks that people might enjoy wouldn't be viable, which is a loss. And competitive and prices will obviously shoot way up. But other than that, I mean, Tier Element plays through all the most unfun parts of this game, right? So let's say tomorrow Konami prints 8 decks, just as powerful as Tier Element, that can play through all the floodgates, except they all have their own distinct play styles. Except like stun, right? So like you have like some control decks, you have like mid range decks, you have some like explosive combo decks that maybe don't end on like negates or like a floodgate, but they end on like a bunch of like a mass banish like Goatee does, or like maybe they end on a maybe they end on just like a bunch of pops like Megalith, stuff like that, right? Or like explosive combo decks that end on like real interaction instead of just Drytron activate Herald. It's interesting to think about because if they print these decks that like Megalith has like a like you can enjoy playing through a Megalith player's board, but if it's like something like that, but they can ignore floodgates, then it solves probably the biggest problem in current Yu-Gi-Oh, which is that floodgates decide most of the matches. And you can just look at your opponent's hand and decide who wins. This also solves a lot of the problem of skill testing, no? I mean, it obviously hampers what you can do with the side deck, but at some point, like, how much does the side deck really determine how skillful the game is? I'm looking at like a tier element game, and what's really skillful about that isn't like the cards you're boarding in, but all the minute resource management. All like the minute resource management games you have to play in the middle of the match. You're not super focused on like, oh, I guess I guess my opponent flipped a skill drain and my deck can't beat that. Because, like, theoretically, all 8 of these new decks would be able to beat skill drain. I'm just thinking about it and, like, damn, we think of power creep as such a bad thing, but you could also use it to solve every in-game problem of Yu-Gi-Oh! Uh, just that's just me putting my thoughts forward. If any of you have a criticism of that idea or something like that that doesn't revolve around price, because I know obviously the market would be disastrous after this idea is implemented, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time.